Good morning, everyone. I want to talk about the stone the builders rejected again. It's been on my mind a lot lately. I guess the sun being in Taurus as well as Venus. The builders are part of Freemasonry. They're the feminine side. They rule every other sign. Their colors are black and white, and they basically rule the ages of Taurus and Pisces, with Aries being ruled by the patriarch. So the builders come from this age, from the age of Taurus. Actually, this is only after the flood. The builders come before the flood. They're always feminine, and they're always found in earth and water signs. So when you talk about them, you can say they were also part of the destruction in the age of Cancer, water. They're feminine, their colors are black and white, and they rule earth and water. So builders are earth signs. The stone the builders rejected. They chose Sirius. When they set up the United States, it's quite clear that they venerate Orion and they venerate Sirius. The stone on the fixed cross is actually Aldebaran, or Aldebaran is the stone here. But they didn't even choose that. They chose Sirius. On that same cross, the kings, their stone is Regulus. The monarchies, that's their stone. The papal, being as they are water, they're Antares. You get the tares, the T-A-R-E-S, the tares from here. And they venerate Ophiuchus as Antares. But nobody out of four fixed stars on the fixed cross, every group's got a stone, but none of them have picked this one. Not a one. And it has to do with the pineal gland. And it's an air stone. It's not an earth stone. The builders, we've already been through Egypt and the Sphinx, being ancient Babylon, that lion laying down with Balaam, the lamb. They could have resurrected that for us, and they didn't, and they remain in the lower chakras. People talk about 33rd degree Masons all the time. Well, I'm telling you, I spent plenty of time around these people. I grew up in cities around them. Everything around me was Masonic most of my life. And one thing they are not is informed. You ever been around a bunch of Shriners? They're into alcohol and sex. And they're really old. And it's all about the lower chakras. This is not somebody who's popped their pineal gland or who has the right stone. We're told that when we entered into the kingdom, you'll get a new stone in your right hand. We're going to get a new stone. We're told this stone that comes from heaven, that crushes the feet of Nebuchadnezzar's statue. We're talking about Fomalhaut. We're talking about Aquarius. We're talking about the pineal gland. When you achieve that, you're free from religion. You're free from the lies. You're free from all the bondages of this world, because you can't get there till you let go of everything here. Now, the powers that be, they don't want to go. They want to stay right here and rule everything. The Lamb told the priest, you don't go in and you won't let them go in. They don't want to go to heaven. They don't want to be there. They want to rule this material world. Because they're afraid of death. You got to produce your light body. And to do that, you have to enter within. To get out of this world, you have to go in. You have to go in to get out. I've added some videos to my recommended watch list for you on the pineal gland. From a couple of different perspectives, I've added some videos there. You also find them in the playlist section and under my liked videos. I popped a few of them there for you to consider. I really like what they're doing in the children's anime, The Last Airbender, but a lot of the symbolism is wrong. Even when I go through the Vedic symbolism, it is so upside down from the alchemy. Like, let me go here and get you a third eye chakra symbol. Alright, here's the symbol for the third eye chakra. Just by looking at it, can you tell me what's wrong here? Because to me, everything's wrong here. Number one, the symbol for the crown chakra, its color is not blue. Its arrow does not point down. It's red and it points up. It's like this whole symbol is upside down here. And I know all of this was tampered with during the past 2 ages. Probably the past 3 ages. The only part of it that we can even consider authentic is the symbol that's within side. The rest of that's all been added, and it's all incorrect. And I don't understand why they do that. Blue is feminine. And this, when you talk about the pineal gland, and especially in alchemy, it is masculine. If you want to put it together, it would be red and black. Aquarius, Capricorn, because they are one sign. And then you could have the black arrow down and the red arrow up. The red arrow over the black arrow, making that Magen David, that symbol of the changing of the ages or 2 elements. But to have that arrow like this is water and earth, which are both feminine. And when you talk about water and earth, you're talking about Freemasonry. You're talking about the Catholic Church, religion, the builders, anything but what Aquarius and the pineal gland symbolizes. Or Saturn even. This is just so far from what it should be. Here they've even given it to you in the black and white, leaving out the center symbol. It's like the black and white words in the Bible. They're all Masonic. And it's those red words that belong to the age of Aquarius. He told you, my kingdom is not of this world, age of Pisces. Had this been my kingdom, then my followers would have fought. And that fight is upon us before we know it. But opening your pineal gland, there is so much information and so much disinformation. That's why I encourage everybody to learn alchemy. Learn those symbols. I've showed them to you over and over again. I offer them to you for free, and you can do your own homework. I'll give you links to all the alchemy books you could ever want in several different languages. The ancient manuscripts before it was tampered with. Let me just give you all a quick run through of that. browser's slow. The planes are noisy, and oh, it's going to get really noisy here today. I'm down the street from UNLV, and they graduate today. Let's go all the way to the bottom. Which ones did I want? Nicholas Flamel is, to me, when I was doing the alchemy thing, he was the one. That's where you went. Hold on, there's another list in here. I'm just going to have, I don't want the terminology. You'd think I would have bookmarked it. Most of these works I've already been through anyway, but there's a link within a link in here. And I'm not finding it. Why mutational alchemy? Because that's what it's about. We don't evolve, we mutate. Now why can't I find what I was looking for? Let me pause so I don't waste time. I don't know why I didn't see it the first time. It's From Alchemy to Chemistry, 500 years of rare and interesting books. These are almost all encoded. A lot of them are in German, Dutch, French, Latin. All of them. Even Flamel's work is here. And he does his exposition on the hieroglyphic figures. His secret book of the blessed stone called the Philosophers. I've gone through a lot of these back when I was with occult.biz. But you have to be fluent in a lot of these languages and the terminology. How an alchemist talks. It's in a code, like the Freemasons. They have their own little language that you don't understand. They say shit that really pisses us off. Again, this is Flamel's work from 1330 to 1417. This is before the 1611 King James Bible, before the printing press. These are basically handwritten manuscripts. See? They're handwritten manuscripts. And it's the dark hieroglyphics. And these are at the University of Illinois. Of course they are. Rare book exhibit. I bet. I'd love to have it. A handwritten Flamel. Because most of these guys down here are basing all their work off of what he did. And this is published in 1624, but it's from his original manuscripts. 1500 published. We're seeing a lot of them before the printing press. And you can, once you start reading them, and you do it in chronological order, and follow the work, because these guys are all following the masters that came before them. And you can find great truths in here. They even have Madame Curie's work in here. And you can also link the Chemistry Library at the University of Illinois in Chemical Genealogy Database. Oh, that sounds interesting. Let's click. Welcome to it. What do we got here? Something I'm going to look through when I've got some free time. Ding ding. But that's how you get to it. In every video I put up, there's a link at the very bottom in the description box for alchemy PDFs and ebooks. And when you go here, you just come down to F, starting with Faust, and from alchemy to chemistry, 500 years of rare, interesting books. All of this other work in here came from these books, from these peoples, really starting with Nicholas Flamel. And once you get used to reading it, Israel Regardie, he worked for the royal family, one of their alchemists. But you want to know the truth and how to do it. Like I said, there are so many and much disinformation that if it evokes fear in you, if it makes you afraid, one, you're not reading it right, or it's disinformation. If you cannot detach yourself from the emotional reaction that it has on you, maybe some of you, you need to get more in tune with the language to really understand what you're reading. And you will do that by the symbolisms that I gave you and the terminology. Learn that alchemical wheel. Learn it. You know, we're in a time of Jupiter. Jupiter is about expansion. I cannot help myself. I must go here. Because it's all in the wording. It's a damn word game. And they know it. English is a fake language. Most languages are. Everything from the Bible, Babble, are basically fake languages. When you talk about Jupiter, which is the age we're in and who we're dealing with, he's the god of this world age. Jupiter means expansion. We've talked about this many times, but I don't think you see the words within the words. To start with, we have X, Pan, and Zion. So they're divorced from Pan. It's Zion divorced from Pan. And who is Pan? Who is the Pan man? Saturn. And they're divorced from the spirit. They don't want the stone that will become the cornerstone of this next age. They don't want Fomalhaut. They want Sirius. They want Regulus. They want Antares. Aldebaran. They'll take anything but Fomalhaut and the stars of Aquarius. Okay, let's take a peeky look at what's going on today. Because a lot of people are screaming that Mars is in Capricorn. It is not yet, but it's fixing to be. And when it does come in, it's exalted there. So this Saturn retrograde is going to take on a whole new to-do. It's also going to, when it comes into Capricorn, it's going to be conjunct K2, or the south node of the moon. It's just going to intensify it even more. K2 and Mars have similar aspects. Mercury has still got 3 days. Is it 3 days? 4 days. He comes out of Pisces on the 16th. So Mercury's still debilitated. He's not retrograde, but he's still in his debilitation. And he's conjunct Uranus. The Sun finally still in Aries. The Sun doesn't come out the 15th. They're going to move basically on the same day. The sun will move into Taurus. Venus in Taurus. And Jupiter still retrograde in Libra. Saturn is exalted in this house. Of course he is. It's the occult knowledge of the heavens. It's ruled by Lucifer, Venus. And it's been hidden. Maybe thinking out of the box here in this sign is the best thing about this chart right now. Because when Mars moves into Capricorn, exalted there, that's when everybody's just going to go off the hook with that Saturn retrograde and Pluto and Uranus on that mutable cross. Mars will be conjuncting Earth signs and everything on the cardinal cross. Uranus is going to be moving into Aries and then do what it did before, turn right around and go retrograde. Because what needs to be done in Pisces is not happening. Pisces is about water. Water is people. This is mysticism and religion. So these are religious people. And Uranus is there to get rid of them out of your life. It's not serving you. Relationships grow apart. Everything's being divided and separated when we need to be pulling ourselves together. But we have to do it on an individual basis first before the collective can do it as a whole. You don't have to worry about the collective, just you. Once you get you right, then the world around you will start filling itself in properly. It's that hundredth monkey thing going on. Where's Neptune? Come on. Neptune holds more secrets than anybody on the board. I love this because those who are born right now within the last few years have this Neptune in Aquarius. And that's their destiny. Is astrology, karma, following the Lamb wherever he goes. I can't wait till we get our new chart, because this one really pisses me off. I know I'm looking at just some of everything. Some Occidental, Oriental, some of this and some of that. It is just a hodgepodge from so many different zodiacs. And we have access to most of them anyway. How many of you have actually downloaded this free program and gone through it? How many of you actually do your homework? You know, if you do your inner homework, none of this even matters. You can look up or you can look within. People are asking me about the third eye, about sun gazing. Well, here's what I got to say about sun gazing. The sun is going to channel the energy from whatever constellation it's in. But there are wheels within wheels. The big wheel on the outside says Jupiter is ruling in water. And he rules over everything. He controls everything. He's about expansion, that expand Zion. That's what he's about. Empire building. That's what he does. But under that wheel, there are wheels within wheels. So when the sun is in Aries and you're out sun gazing, you're channeling that energy that's coming through Aries, but is currently influenced because Jupiter's in control. Then there are particular stars, which is how the builders understood it. In my birth chart, Fomalhaut is on the horizon. If you turned on the, let's see if we can get it to go here. I mean, like that, just coming over the horizon. So I have a Fomalhaut rising in my chart. And you can see the difference between day and night. I don't do the rising signs and all of that because it's not part of the alchemy. It's really your chart. It's your cross. I just try to give it to you in its purest alchemical form. And then if you want to go through the traditions of all the different cultures around the world and what they have to say about that, that's part of you carrying your cross. It's for you to learn. But what I'm giving you, that's what you need to back up all your information on. Because if it don't go with the alchemy, what I'm telling you about those symbols from the third eye, that symbol is freaking wrong. Everything about it's wrong. It's the wrong color. It's pointing the wrong way to even be associated with the third eye, if you understand alchemy. And I know a lot of this, all of these traditions, because everything since the printing press, Jupiter and his empires, they control it all. But start with Nicholas Flamel. Learn your alchemy. Learn that it's encoded. And they're talking about popping the pineal gland. They're talking about meeting your higher self, manifesting your light body. And when you do that, you're aware there's no death. You just change from one form to another. I believe when you make your light body, you are off this karmic wheel. Once you finish this life here and you've manifested your light body. I don't know if it's possible for somebody who has manifested their light body to lose it. It's my understanding it's permanent. Somebody asked me about suicide. That's part of the law. There is no law in Aquarius. It's do what thou wilt, love above law. It's karma. You will reap what you sow. The only suicide's going to do to you is just put you right back in the mix. You're going to go right back and have to do it again. Your memory will be wiped, and you'll get another do-over. When it's best to face the challenges, and you know those that are suicidal are so damn close to popping their pineal gland. It's grief. Let me see if I can pull this up for you here. See if I've got a link for it. I do not. Yeah, I do. Let's go to my channel. This thing is so slow. It's so old. Play this. There it is right there. Liked videos. This is the last airbender here, where they're talking about the chakras. I also put it, where are the rest of them? Oh, view 30 more. recommended watch list. Let's see the recommended watch list. How to open your 7 chakras as explained in children's show. I watched this. I liked what it had to say, even though I had some problems with the order in which they put everything and how they put it. But the premise behind it was correct. Everything he had to say was correct, except for he got some of the elements in the wrong order. Earth, fire, water, and air. He got them in the wrong order. Understanding that there are 4. And then the third eye, why God created and how he hears every prayer. Now that was very interesting to me. I like what the woman is talking about here. But at the same time, she's got some serious issues because she's hanging on to the God of the Old Testament. She's not able to divide. To her, the third eye is an evil thing. And in a way, she's right. Because if you don't do it properly, you're going to manifest demons. You can actually open the door. Even Thalem. Let's go there. I love anything in the books of John. John the Revelation, Gospel of John, First Book of John, all of John is in a very spiritual sense. When you talk about the 4 Gospels, you can say earth, water, fire, and air. John is air. Everything is about the Spirit. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits to see whether they be of God. Because many false prophets are gone out into the world. And this is not how you try them. This is not how you would try a spirit when you are in the pineal gland. You know them. You already know them. If it evokes fear, hate, jealousy, envy, revenge, self-pity, any of the negative spirits, shame, guilt, a lot of that crap that the church put on us, all that shame and that guilt. Because I have a problem with this word anyway, Jesus, we've done been through that. That's Jesus. That's the son of Zeus. His name was Theseus, or the Jesus. And that is not the offspring. That's not Balaam. Period. That's put in there. This is not original text. This was scripted this way on purpose. So we're talking about the pineal gland and testing the spirits. And don't believe you'll know if it's not emitting love, if it wants worship, if there's a price to pay, it's the wrong spirit. If it comes asking or demanding anything of you, when you meet your higher self, it's pure love. It don't ask from you. It don't want from you. It's there to give to you. Peace, love, understanding, knowing. That's what Aquarius is all about. Knowing. Let's talk about these other stones. Because when you talk about the age of Taurus, it's the age of I will. So this is the will. Aries is I am. Pisces is I believe, blind faith. But Aquarius is I know. And Capricorn is I do. That's what we say when we get married. I do. It should be properly be let there be. Instead of do, it's let. It's creation. Don't be dismayed by what's going on in this world, especially when you watch those 4 little videos in that recommended list. When you watch them, you'll get a better understanding of why we're under so much pressure. They have to push us to our limits for us to pop our pineal gland. First they have to shame us and make us feel guilty, because we have to overcome that. When I do your charts, what do we talk about? Saturn rules it, and Saturn has a lesson for you, and this is what you have to overcome. You got to come on over by overcoming. You got to conquer it. It is your lesson, and that's how you do it. Whatever sign Saturn's in my first house, Capricorn, with Mars and the Sun. I got 3 malefics in my first house. That's what tradition would tell you. That I'm just doom and gloom. I got 3 malefics in my first house of Capricorn, which is doom and gloom to hear Jupiter tell the story. But it's not. Mars is exalted there. Saturn rules it. There's nothing wrong with it. A lot of great people were born Capricorn, some of the greatest actually. They're natural born leaders. Anybody on the cardinal cross, these are your leaders. They're the most high. Libra, Aries, Cancer, and Capricorn. They're your leaders. The fixed ones are on the fixed cross with Thalum. And then the mutable cross. This is our age of transmutation. If you want to call it evolution. We revolution around this circle, but we don't evolve. We mutate. We transmutate. And without this age, or those of you on the mutable cross, we wouldn't get anything done. When you talk about mutable, it means change. When you first come into a guild, a lodge, whatever, you're initiated. That's Taurus, the builders. You're initiated. And then when you come into the next stage, our stage. This is all staged now. In the next stage, you're a novice. You get initiated, you're a novice, and then you become an adept. To become an adept, you must be adaptable. You must be able to change. So our adepts, you're going to find here in this age, on that mutable cross. They're adaptable. And then you move into the master, which is Aquarius. And then you move into the Grand Poobah himself, the Grand Master Mason, Capricorn. Do you see the progression here? How this works? Keep all this in mind when you're reading Flamel's work or the other works. And those of you who speak Dutch or German or Latin. In some of these manuscripts, you're going to need all 3 because they mix words. You know, when I was learning Arabic, they kept telling me, there's not an English word for that. We don't have English words for this, and they would try to describe things to me that we didn't even have words for in English. Or I kept insisting, yes, there are words, you just don't know them. It's a very difficult language to learn. English is the most difficult language on the planet to learn because there's so many irregularities. But once you get it, once you get that what they did with the languages, then it doesn't matter. You can pop from language to language to language and get it. Like the expand Zion. Yeah, Jupiter's all about empire and expansion, which is divorced from Saturn and their idea of Zion. It's exactly what's going on. They just keep handing off the baton. They run in threes and they hand off the baton to each other, from the builders to the patriarchs. Here you have Freemasonry, or what you call the lodges. And in Aries, that's what we call the new Israel today, the new Zion. This is where that came from. And then you have the churches today, the Vatican, in Pisces. And these three, they are ex-pan Zion. They're all about Jupiter. He's been the main one in charge since Saturn was no longer in control. The story goes that Kronos, Saturn, gives birth to Jupiter here in Sagittarius, and he kills his father. He kills Kronos, or he kills time. So he's been in, this boy right here, Jupiter, the illuminated one, Sagittarius, is where all this mess started. And he kills his father, which is Saturn. All that's metaphorical to explain this in the heavens, but it's been that long since we've been in the golden age. And when Jupiter took over, we just kept descending and descending and descending till we ended up in confusion, and then the earth was destroyed by water. And Mercury came as Buddha, as Thoth, as Hermes, to get us out of that mess. Of course, it was encrypted. They took it, dug up Babylon, called it Egypt, and established Freemasonry under Orion and Sirius. And then it got really bad when they got thrown out of the desert into a worse desert, the wilderness of Zen, into the age of Aries, and the god of thou shalt not, throwing them into that most far base chakra, Mars, threw them down to the bottom. I mean, at least here, they went from Mercury, let me back up, they went from Mercury, which is the throat, to Venus, the heart, and then just dropped right to the bottom. And then we're going to go from Jupiter straight to Saturn. Coming out of that confusion, going into knowing. And you know, when you pop your pineal gland, that's, you do know. Any question you have, I've talked about being out of the body, any question you have is instantly answered, no matter what it is. All you got to do is think it, and the answer is immediately there. So we can know, and we can know now. We don't have to wait till we die. We don't have to wait for another age to come in. You just have to go within. But I hesitate, like I said, on giving any techniques, because to me it happened naturally. And when Fomalhaut rises in the east on the spring equinox and looks that Sphinx straight in the eye, everybody's pineal gland's going to pop. The frequencies are already changing. The sun's changing, the planets are changing, even the animals, they're no longer, have you noticed they're no longer afraid of us? They're starting to move more into civilization and just hunker down right with man. They don't run anymore. And it's a subtle, slow change, but that's where we're going. As a child, I was extremely connected with the animals. It was people I couldn't connect with. But I had no problem with birds, frogs, lizards. It didn't matter. Cows, dogs, pigs, horses. To me, every one of them could hear me and I could hear them. They don't speak in a language, but they speak in an emotional frequency. And it's very kind. It's very loving. It's not aggressive. You can see when animals fear us. And very well they should, after the ages that we have been through. It's been a long, long time. They tell you this wheel is 25,000 years around. I tell you it's not. It's a lot longer than that. We've been lied to. The sun has a retrograde motion in the heavens. We can see that on Stellarium. And they've locked their boxes. Everybody's 1, 2, 3 lock box. We went through that one. Here's your 3 lock boxes. 1, 2, 3. 3 lock box. Every one of them run on a different timeline. They all have their own calendars. They venerate their own traditions and their own seasons, and they will not let that wheel turn. They locked it. They're terrified of all of us waking up. And it's more than just waking up and becoming aware. When you pop your pineal gland, and we do it on a collective level, we call the shots from there on out. You want to disempower these people? The only way to do it is to empower yourself through your pineal gland. To empower ourselves is to disempower them. They want to keep you in the collective. I've told you. Aquarius is about individual freedom. Let me throw a word at you here. Sovereignty. Sovereign. They call themselves that. We're all sovereign. You're part of the collective. You're in the flock. Let's go there. You're in the flock. Where's the flock? The flock is in the head of the beast. There's the flock. Sheepfold. There they are. Right in the head of the beast. These are good people up in these churches. But they don't realize that what they're doing is actually empowering the ones that are destroying us all. And they would just soon destroy the whole damn thing than to let us have it. They think it's theirs. They think they own it. And they have, ever since Jupiter came into this system. If you read the Bible, Genesis tells you, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. But what you don't get is that's a recreation. In the re-beginning, God recreated the heavens and the earth because the earth was void and without form. That word void and without form is called tuhu, and it means the overthrow. Velikovsky tells you when Jupiter came into this system. Jupiter and the Sun were binary stars, and Jupiter died. He was a dwarf star. He burnt out fast. He never really came to fruition, and he was caught in the gravitational pull of this system. And you can even look on the alchemical wheel and tell who he brought with him. Because this system was about the sun, and we didn't even have a moon. It was about the sun, Saturn, Venus, and Mercury. He brought the Mars and moon with him. Uranus was here. We're told Uranus came before Jupiter. Remember, Saturn gives birth. Kronos gives birth to Jupiter. They want to tell you Jupiter gives birth to Venus. Oh no. That's not what that means. Venus was here with Saturn. Venus, Saturn, and Mercury have always ruled together. And they rule all heaven and all earth. You just have to go through the alchemy of it to understand it. So when you're talking about these different elements, and you talk about the chakras, and popping the pineal gland, that's why I don't want to say use this technique or use that technique, because one, everybody's different. We've all got our own natal charts. We're either water, fire, earth, or air. And then those are breaking down into 3 subcategories of fixed, cardinal, and mutable. So there's not one technique for everybody to do it. But it will happen naturally for everybody on this planet when Fomalhaut conjuncts the spring equinox with the Sphinx. That's when it'll happen. When he looks himself right in the eye. When you look yourself right in your third eye and see your higher self face to face. Let's talk about perspective for a minute. I want to talk about third person perspective. Let me ask you a question. Think back when you were a child, sitting in your classroom. Think of some memory you had sitting at a desk in a classroom. When you're looking at that memory in your mind's eye, can you see yourself? Are you looking through your eyes at that desk, or can you look down and see yourself? If you can look down and see yourself in your memories, like you're looking at yourself from a third person perspective, that's what it is. That's the other you. To be able to have that, not the left eye or the right eye, but that third person perspective. And you notice when you do this, it's always looking from above. You look down on it. You look down on your memories. How many of you do this? I can't be the only one. That when I reflect back on my memories, I see it from a third person perspective. Because I always did see it from a third person perspective. Your pineal gland is always observing. It's always recording. When you come out of the body and you pop your pineal gland, when you die, you remember everything. There is nothing lost. Everything you ever did, everything you ever said, everywhere you ever went, not one jot, not one tittle is lost. I don't care if you've got full-blown Alzheimer's. When you pop your third eye, you're going to remember everything. People who were born blind. They're born blind. Never seen a damn thing in their life. But when they pop their pineal gland, they see. Not with these eyes, but they now have images. They have all this vision. But it's only within. You got to close your eyes to see it. And you got to practice at it. Especially if you're older. I was fortunate enough, to me, it's just a gift I've had my whole life. I didn't understand what it was. I'm just coming into that understanding, to that knowing. What? I'm so glad that people are waking up. And if it took 9/11 to push us to that, if it took these shitty-ass presidents that push our buttons to do that, if it takes the Illuminati, if it, whatever, you put a crystal under pressure and sparks fly. And that's what we're talking about here. Crystalline, the crisscross. It's the red cross. You notice in a lot of pictures they'll show you Jesus and he's holding the red cross. Now, who's the white cross? Right here. We're in the white cross. It's mutable. But we're moving into the red cross. And then we'll hit the black cross. And you got to get away from the demonization. You got to face your fears. If they've made you afraid of Saturn, then hit him head on. That's the only way you're going to get to the pineal gland, is face your fears. Let go of the guilt and the shame. Let go of everything. All of it. That's how it happened to me. I let go of everything. I wanted nothing. No thing. You couldn't give me anything on this planet. It just simply wasn't worth it. The only thing you could give me was an opportunity to make it a little bit easier for somebody else. Not a savior, not a messiah. Just somebody to stand in the gap, to help a few people out. We save ourselves before we can save each other. We really can't save anybody. We can only show them the way. We talked about that too. Balaam said, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the light. No man comes to the Father but by me. Well, he's the thalamus. He's the hypothalamus. You got to go through the hypothalamus to get to the pineal gland. It's what vibrates it. The hypothalamus gets to vibrate and brrr, and it pops that pineal gland. And then you're awake. That's when you're awake. That's when you know. Not this false awake that everybody, oh, I'm awake, and I hate this, and I hate that. Well, if you're in this hate mood, you're not awake. If you've got resentment, if you've got anger, if you've got jealousy, if you've got vengeance in your mind, you're not awake. You're still in the lower chakras. You're still back over here in Aries. Because that's what he's about. That fire, that purging. Thou shalt not. I am. And we talked about the fire signs. And they have different aspects when you move down these wheels within wheels. To have Aries in your natal chart as your first sign has nothing to do with that. It's based purely on the element. But when you talk about a Saturn return, you're jumping to another wheel. And it's about purification. That's what this age was supposed to be about. Purification. And it was hijacked. Really, we've all been in confusion. I do believe the ones that even consider themselves illuminated are in confusion. We're told that in the Nag Hammadi. That they have no idea. They're so into Mars and Jupiter in these lower chakras that they can't possibly conceive there's a God above them. They know everything. When they actually know nothing. Because if you are power hungry, like to rule over people, micromanage people's lives, when you can't even manage your own. And that's a surefire sign right there that there's a big problem. It's people that try to control other people's lives. They think they know better. But if they take a good look at their own life, it's a world of shit. They can't control anything. They've got habits out the ass they can't control. It controls them. And they can't control their own life, so they have to micromanage other people's lives. That gives them a sense of power, of being in control. And they're generally know-it-alls. When truly they know nothing, or they would let go. You got to let go of it all, even the thing you love the most. If you want to pop your pineal gland, there's a statement in the Bible that says, woe to those who have children and give suck in those days, because we'll die for our children. You know how hard it is to let go? That's what you got to do if you want to pop your pineal gland. You cannot have an attachment to anything in this world. Nothing. And when you realize that this is really the fake world, it's not the real place. It's not the real you. You're not the real you. You're only half of you. The other half's waiting on you. It's there all the time. It's been with you all the time. You just have to go meet yourself. And to do that, it costs you everything. And that's why they say it's the pearl of great price. When you find it, you'll sell everything you got to get it. It's because you got to let go of everything. It's not about selling it to get the money. It's about letting it go. Some people are hoarders. Hoarders, you'll never get there. Materialism, you'll never get there. People that are more concerned with their jobs, their families, their children. And I know that sounds damn horrible, but that's what I'm telling you. This age is about individuality, sovereignty, freedom. We've been screaming for it. We wanted it. We screamed for it. Do you really want it? Are you really ready to give up everything for it? Because that's what it's going to cost you. I don't know if that's good news or bad news. To me, it's good news, because when you give it up, you gain it all back. But you have to be willing to give it up first. And then you can have it all back in abundance, if that's what you want. What it is wanting nothing, wanting no thing. Nothing that you can touch. I didn't want to be here. To me, it was all about love, and I found no love here. Therefore, I found this place was not worthy to be in. Why would I want to be here? There's no love here. Love is really all there is. That's why when Crowley channeled the Lama up here, I need to go through this name too, because there's a bunch of stars that have lamb in it. A bunch of them. The Nephilim, the Alim, Saturn Alim. They throw off the M at the end and give you Ali. But the Nephilim, Nephesh. Neph is where we actually get our word nepotism from. That's why they tell you it's the sons of God, the Nephilim, not Thalim, but Nephilim. And we've got more Alims around. We've got the Dalai Lama. He's got the LM. He's the Lama. The Thalama, the Thalama. You see how they play that card. But once you start going through a lot of these stars, let me get his name here. I don't want the cluster. I want the star. There it is. Alnilam. There's you another lamb. And this is called, you have the belt, the string of pearls, and the zone. Being in the zone. From the Arabic. Seems like in Libra we got some alims too. Backwards there, Mali, the Lama. See it? How they invert it? It ends in the LM, the ML reversed there from the other side. And these would be the Nephilim. Right there. Which is the northern claw, is what they tell us. But you can just spin around and find them. And you'll generally find them in air signs or on the fixed cross, like this one here. Let me get you a translation for these. Which is the string of pearls. And they chose Sirius, which has nothing to do with anything. The belt, string of pearls, And yeah, I got them in the right order. The zone. I want to see what Antares is, the heart of the scorpion, but that comes out of the ancient Persian, because it never was a damn scorpion, it's an eagle. And if this is the northern claw and this is the southern claw, why is the scorpion's claws way back here? Why aren't they up here? Because it's an eagle holding that serpent. That's what aggravates me about this zodiac. I know how bad it's been tampered with. I know how bad. In Egyptian, let's go there for a minute. Because in Arabic, Orion is the giant, shoulder of the giant foot, that he is the giant. But he's got that lamb at the end of his name. He's Al the lamb. Well, when we go into the Egyptian, what happened here? Remember we talked about the Geber and that word giants? Well, when you come over here to Aquarius, Pegasus is the giant. There were giants in the earth in those days, and after that, when the sons of God came to the daughters of men. The great horse, Pegasus, is also the giant. Alright, I think I've rambled on enough for y'all. I do hope that many of you will delve into those alchemy books. I'll leave a link for the ancient ones. I'll just cut right to the chase, and so you don't have to go link to the link to the link, and just get you there. And everybody should start on Flamel's work. That's where everybody, the German and the French, they all followed him. Even though there are some much older masters, I've read works that went way back into 1000, 1100, 1200, a couple hundred years before Flamel. You'll find a lot of these works, they call them grimoires. The saints from the Catholic Church, a lot of it's encoded, because they just couldn't come right out and say it. But a lot of them did enter in, and they did find the truth. But they were shut down and their works were manipulated, so that, as they call it, the profane couldn't find it. But it's the profane that's been running this place for a long time. But then again, when all this goes down, you need to keep in mind, Slugworth worked for Willy Wonka. Slugworth worked for Willy Wonka. The bad guy works for the good guy to test us, see if we're worthy to enter in.